This is Jack Dennett inviting you to Maple Leaf Hockey Talks.
I went out and tried for the team, and the coach thought that I had possibilities, and came time to sign the contract. And I was so young I couldn't write at the time. Everybody was writing their name, and I asked the teacher if I could print mine, would it be all right? And he said, sure.
The Big M. As a kid, he grew so fast he had to print his first contract. 10 years later, Frank Mahovlich's contracts were making Toronto headlines.
You read all about it. Pops off in one game for Frank Mahovlich.
It was sort of a shock more than anything else. I just woke up and picked up the paper, and that's the first I heard about it. And then my dad had called me on the phone, and I went down to the Gardens the morning. I was to practice that morning. I went down there and signed the contract, and that was the end of that.
Well, whether it's shocking fact or fiction, Frank's career has been so spectacular, people were ready to believe it. Like many Leaf stars, that career got underway seriously at St. Michael's College.
My second year, I was 13 or 14, and the Toronto was interested, and they offered me schooling at St. Michael's, which my parents thought highly of at the time, and that's where I ended up.
A wild Irish friend by the name of Hannigan came with Frank to St. Michael's, and the two of them were quite a handful.
I can remember we'd almost every night get into a brawl. And the school was getting quite a few letters from mothers complaining, so Father Flanagan had to call a meeting and told us to cut out the fighting and stick to hockey.
And stick to hockey he did. His concentration on the game won Frank a coveted series of trial games with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, I went up to the Leafs for a 3-game trial. The third game was in Detroit, and I can remember Todd Sloan giving me a pass.
The Leafs are trailing 3-1 in this last period here in Detroit, and the Red Wings have been really up for this game. The Leafs haven't had too much going for them. A feature, however, for the Leafs has been the work of their new rookie, Frank Mahovlich, who looks like a real comer. They're all set now after a short delay after an argument over an offside call. Todd Sloan moves in for the face-off at center ice with Del Vecchio of Detroit. Sloan gets the draw. He wheels to the left. Mahovlich skates down his wrong wing. He takes the pass. He's over the blue line. He shoots. He scores! That's Mahovlich's first NHL goal, and it was a real scorcher of a shot. It caught the top left-hand corner and went into the corner under Glenn Hall's arm. Mahovlich came through in his third game.
I think I scored 20 goals, and I could 15 of those, I think, were scored in about 10 games. Right around Christmas time there, I hit a hot streak. I scored 3 goals in Chicago one night, and I was scoring goals consistently, and I think it was New Year's night or Christmas night. The Canadians came to town, and I scored another 3 goals against them, and ended up scoring 20 goals that season and winning the Rookie of the Year, which was a great thrill for me.
Now Frank was doing great, but the team itself was having problems. It needed something, and that something turned out to be a new coach and manager.
Punch Imlaw came along, decided to coach the team, and I think it was spirit was instilled in us, and great teamwork. We just seemed to go together like a jigsaw puzzle, and we had an excellent record from then on.
They fitted together like pieces in a jigsaw. And 3 of the brightest pieces on the reorganized Leaf team were Mahovlich, Nevin, and the great Red Kelly.
Red Kelly is about the best man I've ever played with. He came to us from Detroit, but it wasn't until the next season Bobby Nevin came along, and this was my big year when the 3 of us were together. Red was the inspiration behind it all, and he was very understanding and set up a lot of good plays. He seemed to just sit at center there and feed us the passes coming up the wings. There wasn't a defense against it, really. We just got goals by the bushelful.
Although Frank has scored more goals than any other Leaf player, the fans always seem to feel he could score more. But to Frank, each game is new and different. Some offer scoring opportunities, some don't.
Things happen to me more on instinct alone. I think when I'm on the ice, what I do is try to size up the situation and work from there. And sometimes things happen so quick. When I'm out there, I don't realize that I don't even try to think that it's my 200th or 100th goal. At the time, I'm trying to size up the situation, and if I do get a chance, I try to take advantage of it.
And there's no denying Frank's philosophy of how hockey should be played works for him. The proof is written right on the Stanley Cup.
The Stanley Cups were a great thrill for me, and I'm certainly proud of having my name on the Stanley Cup. It's a team effort. Not one player can possibly win it. You got to have a good hockey team. You got to have good spirit on there.
The Big M, Frank Mahovlich, a man who's always ready to give full credit to his fellow players. A sportsman whose all-round deportment and talent make him one of the most popular players in the NHL with fans and teammates alike.